Hello everybody, welcome. Today I'm going to show another video from Brian Johnson, who's the man that's supposedly obsessed with longevity, right? But he has great health tips and great health suggestions. And today's video is quite unique. Brian Johnson is surrounded by 20 skeptics of what he promotes in his don't die phrase that he uses. He says don't die. And not that he thinks we're immortal, but he certainly understands that we've cut our lifespan short by the food we eat and the lifestyles we live. And he talks about and shares the information about how we can prolong our lives. And I think it's excellent. I think he still has a lot to learn himself. But by him sharing the results of what he's doing and talking about them, it can help a lot of us kind of understand things that we necessarily wouldn't have been able to do. And he often gets criticized because he's a millionaire and he has a lot of money and he's spending millions on these tests and this information. However, he has a very humble upbringing. He grew up with very little money, and it was only recently, supposedly, that he got into the money. And so he understands and resonates with the average person out there. He was overweight and he was so depressed, and from a lot of it had to do with the lifestyle and the food he was eating, that he literally wanted to commit suicide. But thankfully he didn't, because the information is getting out there and really helping a lot of people. So today we're going to look at the 20 skeptics, Brian Johnson's first 20 skeptics, and I will put the original link below. There's a lot more to this video, and they go through different topics that he talks about. But there's one in particular that he says, and there were skeptics about it, and that was when Brian Johnson says no one should ever eat fast food. And I don't know how anyone could be a skeptic of that, but they found the skeptics, and we're going to look at what the skeptics had to say and what Brian had to say, and I'm going to give you my comments of what I say about what these skeptics say. I think it's a great idea. No one should ever eat, ever, under any circumstance, should need to eat fast food. But let's hear what the skeptics had to say, and then I'll give you my feedback on that as well. So here he is, and he's surrounded by 20 skeptics. He has this time clock, and there's this little flag in the corner. So when at least I think 11 of them raise their flags, then they go to the next topic. Otherwise, they have 15 minutes to discuss this. So this was the end of the last topic, and now I'm going to play this and see what people had to say about this current topic. So here we go.
My next claim is that no one should ever eat fast food.
Hi, Brian. It's me, Chelsea.
So the people get to race to the chair to see which skeptic wants to talk. So here we go.
Odds again, obviously. I didn't know this about us. It turns out we actually have something more in common than I thought, which is that we're both billionaires. Just kidding, I'm not. It's that we're both ex-Mormons. So I do think that's really funny, because I recognize a lot of ex-Mormon tendencies in you, because moderation is a huge part of that religion. So it's funny that I feel like that you took one thing and you changed it into, being obsessed with your health. The claim that nobody should ever eat fast food is an easy claim to make when groceries are affordable to you. The claim that you can never eat fast food is an easy claim to make when you're not working double shifts, when you're not working overnight. The reality is, the reason why people eat fast food is not just because they like it, it's because their lifestyle doesn't lend to the ability to spend time either purchasing expensive, healthy food or preparing the food themselves.
Okay, I'm going to stop here for 1 second here. Well, for a couple of seconds to explain. There are several skeptics that, like this lady says, is people don't have time or money to eat healthy, pretty much. And fast food's the only thing they could afford, and from a time standpoint and from a cooking standpoint. I don't know. I would submit to you that I understand why people would think that, because it seems like if you're eating healthy, you have to cook your food. They have fast food that's healthy out there, believe it or not, or I don't want to say it's not like a McDonald's, but you can certainly go to a salad bar and get healthy food fast at a salad bar. Okay, now if you want to say a salad bar costs too much money, well, an organic salad bar at Whole Foods costs too much money. I'm sure there are salad bars at other places that aren't as expensive. And so, but from the time standpoint, it doesn't cost a lot of money to eat healthy. I mean, take a lot of time to eat healthy. You just have to do the research and understand. Look, you can go to a drive-thru and get a hamburger at McDonald's. You can go to a grocery store and buy a banana. What took longer to get and to eat? And they're relatively, I guess, the bananas are cheaper. And people say, well, I can't survive on just a banana. Well, what you say you're going to believe. Even if you get 5 bananas, it's probably cheaper than anything from McDonald's. And a lot healthier. So for those people that say it takes too much time, well, it takes a lot of time to eat healthy. Because you're not spending time at the doctor's office. Or missing work because you don't feel well. And I'm just using a banana as an example. Rice and beans that you can make at home in the pressure cookers or the new steamers are a lot easier, quicker, and cheaper and healthier than a fast food restaurant. Whatever you're eating, I mean, you're either cooking it or somebody else is cooking it, or you're buying something that's out of the ground, a fruit or a vegetable. This is not a good excuse that we don't have time to make healthy food. Because healthy food doesn't have to take time to make. It could. Just like anything else. You can go to a barbecue, or you can barbecue hamburgers or cook hamburgers at home. They'll take quite a while. But if somebody else makes it for you quickly, then that's a quick food. So with all food, whether it's fast food or not fast food, depending how you're getting it, it doesn't have to take long to eat healthy food. The other thing is the cost. I admit organic food is double the price sometimes of unorganic food. And I think it's important and worth it to get it if you can. But even unorganic food is better than any fast food restaurant. And when I go to health food stores, and not even health food stores, when I go to the average supermarket, you can quickly get something that's somewhat healthy. You can pick up a salad. What fast food is quicker than a salad? And going into the big box grocery store, picking up a salad with an avocado, slicing it in there and eating that in your car. That's quicker, faster, and cheaper than anything you can get at McDonald's. So let's hear more about what this lady says.
Because time is such a constraint in modern society. I think that a lot of the things that you claim, as much as you try and sound egalitarian, generally are for the wealthy. I think not eating fast food is a habit that wealthy people have. We're here in LA. No one who lives in Beverly Hills is eating fast food. But all the normal people who are showing up to construction sites every day, they are.
I totally disagree with this lady. I am not extremely wealthy, and I eat only healthy food. And I would think there's a good amount of people in Beverly Hills and other rich areas around the world that are still eating fast food.
Because that's what real life looks like. And I think that there's something very classist about a rich person telling a bunch of regular people, well, you guys, you shouldn't have fast food. Well, that's easy for you to say when you always can have food on your table. That's an easy claim when you always have food on your table.
The reason, first of all, we don't need to be eating food always. We don't always need to be eating. And if you're eating less, you're spending less money on food. But the reason why people eat fast food is because 2 reasons. Lack of knowledge and addiction. Lack of knowledge. People don't understand how bad it is for their bodies. And even if they did, they're just addicted to it. They literally make addictive chemicals and put it in the food so you can continue eating them. This is how business runs and thrives. It thrives on making money. And if no one was eating fast foods, the fast foods would go out of business. It's lack of knowledge about what health truly is and how bad it really is to eat these foods. But it's also addiction. It's a drug. And the highest drug out there of all the food drugs is the addiction people have to cooked and processed foods. Cooked and ultra-processed foods. You have a choice, folks. You can go to your big box grocery and buy a box of Twinkies, cupcakes, or you can go and buy a salad. That's your choice. It doesn't take a lot of time or money to eat bananas. It doesn't take a lot of time or money to eat pretty much any healthy thing you can get there. But if you decide instead to spend it on a box of Twinkies and you sit home at night and eat most of that and you get sick and then you got to go to the doctor and hopefully you have some drug insurance to pay for your doctor's visit, it's all about a choice. But you have to educate yourself. This lady's clearly not educated when it comes to this topic to say these things. And their excuses to feed her addiction. That's the way it seems to me. Let's hear what Brian has to say about this.
So what do you say about that I'm saying that this is a classist claim?
So I'm saying that fast food companies have used the best science to create the perfectly addictive food with the right amount of fats, proteins, and sugars. It hits a peak dopamine moment in the brain. So they are addicting people to their food. It is a methodical process, and when people eat that, they get themselves in a vicious cycle.
So you think people are addicted to Subway?
Yeah, so just give me a beat to explain this concept. And so what happens is people get in this vicious cycle of addiction. And I think that's bad. And so as a starting principle, let's just put aside for a moment a person's circumstances.
That's easy for you to say.
It is not good for society to poison its people. It's not good to consume poison. Now, if we establish that as a baseline, the next step becomes then, how do we feed ourselves? What are our norms? I agree with you. That is a very challenging problem. Again, I have been in this situation. I have been poor a substantial portion of my life without the ability. So this is I just made money very recently in my life. I was poor for most of my life. So the thing you're saying, I get it. I've been there. I've done it.
So what's your solution then?
Yeah, you can actually buy food. You can actually prepare food. You can take food with you. It is not
so you are suggesting that people who have a very limited constraint on time can do the things that you can do. And again, I proffer that is just simply...
Listen, folks. An almond butter and jelly sandwich on some Ezekiel bread is not expensive and very feasible to put into a bag and take with you instead of going to a fast food place. This lady is making excuses to continue to eat fast food. And you don't have to do that. To take a bowl of fruit to work or even to make a salad doesn't take a lot of time or money. This lady's idea is totally bogus. But sadly, many people think like her. Many people are skeptical of somebody promoting a healthy diet because they're saying, they're either too rich or they have more time than they need and so on. As a matter of fact, if I didn't have a lot of time and if I didn't have a lot of money, fruit would be the best thing because it's inexpensive and quick to eat. And you can make it taste delicious.
Not the case.
It's not the thing. So I'm not suggesting people can do what I do. What I'm saying is, as a society, we should stop demanding poison, and we should punish the companies who are giving us poison. It makes everyone worse.
Okay, I'm going to be real here. I actually love fast food. In fact, I eat it probably at least once every 2 weeks. I spent a significant portion of my adult life as a vegetarian. So a lot of my time from the ages of 20 to age 37 were spent limiting what kind of food I put into my body. And I can tell you that as a person who no longer is a vegetarian and no longer limits my diet, I'm happier. When I'm not constantly thinking about food all the time, I am more satisfied in my existence. I think encouraging people to spend a significant portion of their time...
Okay. With this type of attitude that she has, I could definitely see how her restricting anything can kind of get angry at what she has to restrict and miss this particular demeanor that she has here. And she may be happier, but she's certainly not healthier. I can tell you that. And this is a common problem that people have out there today. They'd rather be happy than be healthy. But when you do this the right way with wisdom, you can be happy and healthy.
Time being stressed about their diet is actually counterintuitive to what you claim to be a proponent for, which is life. Because I think constantly being worried about every single thing that we put in our bodies can actually have really negative impacts on our psyche and our well-being. And as a person who, again, spent 17 years reading the ingredients of everything, poring over what was in a package that I was eating, I can tell you that the freedom that I feel not having to think about that is actually wonderful.
I actually think it's stupidity what she's saying, because you should know everything you're putting in your body, and it doesn't take a long time to look at the labels, and the labels are there for a reason, to make you aware what's there. Now, you have the choice if you want to put it in your body or not, and this lady has that choice. And it's not stressful. Now they have this app, the Bobby app. You can just scan the label and it'll tell you if it's good or bad. You don't even need to read the label. But clearly, this is a classic example of somebody making an excuse to continue her addiction, and so be it. I tell people, do what you want if it's working for you, and if you'd rather be less stressed or take less time looking at ingredients and doing these things, that's your choice, that's your body. But I don't think it's wise to eat things that you don't know what you're putting in your body. It's just not wise.
And do I like fast food? Hell yeah, I do. Do I eat it all the time? No. I think that moderation is an important part of life. So not only do I think that there's like a classist part of this, I also think there's an enjoyment part of this. And in some ways, I know that you've been told by other people that you don't live your life, and I kind of agree. I think you spend most of your life being worried about a lot of things. I think you wake up in the morning being worried about being old. You wake up in the morning being worried about what you put in your body. You puree your food and eat it like a baby, and people don't want to do that. You know what I do want to do though? Sometimes eat a freaking chicken sandwich from the drive-thru. I just think thinking about your food all the time is negative. Do you think it's negative?
So first, I hope it feels good to vent.
I don't think I'm venting. I think that I'm like being direct.
I think, you are being direct. I understand your anger.
I don't think I'm being angry. I think that that's like you saying that because I'm a direct and loud woman. I think that's actually a really rude generalization.
Okay. What I'm saying is I have been in those circumstances, and I don't buy the hypothesis that eating poison makes you happy. I don't think it makes the body happy. I think if you were to actually measure the body, I think the body would complain that it doesn't like getting those kinds of foods in its body. I think this is...
Thank you.
Okay, the time's up for her because they all raised their flags. They were done with her. And now somebody else is going to come and talk about this.
Hi, Brian.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you? I'm
Good.
Tatiana.
Hi, Tatiana.
So I wanted to know what your solution is, because I feel like it's been being beat around the bush. Like in an ideal world, we all have access to healthy, maybe even organic food, but just the basic food that it's nutritious to our bodies and isn't, all over that's like poisoning us. But what is the solution for the everyday people working, just regular jobs, because we don't have livable wages really anywhere in the United States. So I would just like to an actual answer to what would the solution be? Is it to not eat, or is it to poison ourselves? That's the term you've used. And eating food that's accessible to us based on our budget and means. What would your solution be to that?
I love this question.
Okay.
So what I think we should do is we should stop asking companies to make poison that we consume. So let's just stop eating the food. If we stop eating it, they will want to make money by making food that's better. So I'm saying that I understand the limitations we have as individually in our lives, but the way we fix it is not by eating more poison. The way we fix it is we stop it and we say, companies, I'm not going to buy your poison. You need to make something that's better for me. So it's really a societal shift, because you can't just say, hey, person with 2 jobs and no money. That's a very challenging situation. We have to change societal norms. So it really is, from the ground up, we have to say, we don't want to eat poison. We don't want to feed our kids poison. We don't want to feed our parents poison. It sucks to be diseased and to feel bad. Let's stop it. So I'm trying to argue that we want to change this on a societal level.
Okay, so in the interim, what do we do? Because I agree with you, but the reality is we are not going to all boycott McDonald's today.
What if we did?
Okay, but we're not.
Yeah, but I'm saying it's a domino effect. Like you
Right.
and your friends and you have children or your parents.
But they're not, because what are we going to eat instead? Like
Yeah.
Burger King?
No,
Well, again, what are we going to eat instead if McDonald's isn't around or available? Well, I definitely agree 100% with Brian saying here. And with this lady, what else are you going to eat? Hello? Go get a bag of fruit. Go get some a salad. Again, it's not fast food or nothing, folks. It's the choice. And I like calling fast food poison because that's what it is.
so I think, again, this is not an easy solution. And life is not easy. This is not a situation where like all the answers are right there in front of us.
Yeah.
But I definitely know I've been through this myself, right? Like I've been in the same circumstance. You can try your very best to eat as well as you can, right? And sometimes it's not perfect and sometimes you have to make compromises. But I'm saying that if we want these things to change, we all need to take a stand together. We need to stop asking for this to be made.
I feel like that's a big like solution, and I'm asking for like an interim solution to like something people maybe can take away that are watching this. And are you saying you don't have that solution?
No, I'm saying that, yeah, so I would say try to create a weekly schedule. So if you can budget, for example, an hour of your entire week, it could be on a Saturday or Sunday, and try to do meal prep for that week. Try to buy some basic foods, and you can even do something lower cost, like something like potatoes or something that is actually in a budget you can afford, and try to be on some kind of reasonable diet and not consume fast food. But I think that it actually can be done. You can take reasonable steps to try to not participate in fast food.
And
So for those of you that are watching and you ask, how can I get started eating healthy? What he just said is excellent. Make a schedule, pre-make the food, and that'll help you avoid the fast food places.
is this all during our 8 hours of sleep we have to make time for too?
It could be 7 as
While
well.
we're working, you know, to make money for like rent and not being paid livable wages.
I don't know why, is it me, but, people will watch television for like 3 hours a night, just sitting on the couch, flicking the remote control. Even people that have full-time 9-to-5 jobs, they'll stay up till late in the night watching television, the average person. And this lady's saying, what, if you have an 8-hour job, how are you going to have time to make food? Really?
I'm just trying to get there with you and I'm not there.
I'm with you. So I think you can have some basic things. For example, if we could say it's not a good idea to scroll before bed, it's not a good idea to eat right before bed.
What about people that are influencers that like, they might have like work in another time zone and they have to scroll right before bed because they got to get there, trying to get their 8 hours you're talking about, or maybe just 4 or 5 for the normal person,
Yeah.
at least people I know. Like, are you saying that they should just not, that like impacts their work?
Yeah, I'm saying there are things within everyone's control to make small steps on a daily basis to say no to the things that make them a lesser person. No one's going to
A
force you.
lesser person?
No one's going to eat.
Can you elaborate on
Yeah,
that?
so when you consume a diet of sugar, even you eat a fast food diet, you're less able cognitively, you have lower reaction times, you have lower willpower. It makes you a person that's not as robust in the world. So it's actually a form of self-harm. And I don't want that to happen.
Self-harm, okay.
Yep. And so there are definitely people have the ability to make these decisions in their life, like small things. I'm not blaming the person. I'm blaming systems. I'm saying the systems we have in society suck. They are killing people.
And they're man-made.
And the way we have to change that is we have to stop participating in those systems. This is not me blaming people. I'm not pointing the finger. I'm saying that we are stuck in a system, but we actually are endorsing the system by participating in it.
Okay, so thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
All right. So here's the next person. So I picked this topic to talk about because it's such an important topic. And these are actually skeptics. Skeptics, people actually against boycotting or just not eating fast food.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good to see you.
So I'm a professional fitness trainer and nutritionist. Originally, I'm from Ukraine. So in my country, food is much better than in US. But the lifespan is less than 8 years less. So don't you think that healthcare is more important than the fast food and any other thing that connecting with that?
Yeah, I mean, I think we all value healthcare. When something bad happens to us and we need help, I think we all value it in that regard. When we're trying to solve something like disease, some of that can be prevented by having good, healthy choices, healthy life choices. And so in the US, for example, our system is primarily sick care. Right? You go there and you report your symptoms, you have some kind of diagnosis, and you're treated with drugs or something else, but rarely do doctors talk about sleep or exercise or diet, right? It's typically a drug-based solution. And so in the US, our system's really not set up to encourage active, healthy lifestyles. And I think that's where it falls down, is it's good to help you not die right now, but it's really bad to help you live for a long time.
So I do believe you watched this movie, Live to 100, Secrets of the Blue Zone. And one important thing that connected all these people from different parts of the world, it's social connection. So don't you think it's eating the burger with the friends at 2 a.m. is way better than sitting in a couch alone and eating the salad?
Yeah.
So this guy's coming at it from a different standpoint. Burger. No, eating a burger at 2 a.m., eating a salad, eating anything at 2 a.m. is not good. I mean, unless you have a graveyard shift job, nobody should be up at 2 a.m. If you want to be healthy, that's when you should be sleeping. But if you are up that late, you shouldn't be eating. But I get what this guy's point is. He's talking about social connection. And that's a tough one. How could you be social if you're completely eating different way than everyone else? How could you still be social with them? But as I found, you can. I eat a completely different diet than the people around me and my friends and my family. You can still engage with them and not have to eat the same way. And I know a lot of culture is related around food, but it doesn't have to be. And you're the one that's in control of that. So
At what time is the salad?
It doesn't matter. Yeah, kind of healthy salad.
Yeah. Social connection it's like one of the superpowers of a wonderful life. I agree with that. Yeah, and so this goes back to this idea that I don't think there's any law of physics that says you can only connect with your friends at 2 a.m. when you're both intoxicated. You know, like you can definitely connect in the morning, you can connect in the evenings. And so again, these are really products of our cultural norms today. They don't have to be true. Like we can change our schedule. For example, we do morning dance parties with friends. They're just as fun as 10 p.m. dance parties. So you can actually change norms and think about these differently. It's just that I think we feel stuck in the way things are with expectations from our friends. And then when I don't participate in those things, right, the accusation is I don't live life. I think we can live lives that are healthy and still have reasonable health habits.
So I think fast food isn't a problem. Relationship with the food is.
Yeah.
So we have a bunch of research and experiments when the people eat fast food and they stay in a calorie deficit and they decrease the body fat percentage and the cholesterol level. Does it mean that fast food isn't bad? What do you think?
Yeah, I think if you look at the ingredients of fast food, there's a lot of evidence to suggest it really could be very harmful. In fact, it could potentially contribute to some of the worst human diseases. And so I don't think it's a good idea under any circumstance to eat fast food. And I think
there it is. And I agree 100%. There's no circumstance where eating fast food would be a good idea. And I'm in full agreement with that. And if you disagree, put it in the comments below and tell me why. But I think it's lack of knowledge and excuses. I think if people had more knowledge about how bad the food actually was that they're eating, not excuses, the lack of knowledge and addiction. They've become so addicted to something, they make it excuses to keep doing it. And even if they have the knowledge, they're too addicted to it to stop. But you can stop. You know, if you want to stop drinking alcohol, you got to go to AA recovery. If you want to stop doing drugs, you got to go to some drug clinic. I don't know how you can stop or break the addiction of eating processed food or unhealthy food. I have some ideas, but each person is in their own situation. But I know you need help, and you should.
It's something we should collectively agree as a society, we don't want it anymore.
Yeah.
Thanks.
All right, you're gonna have one more person here. They only got 3 minutes
Hey,
left. So
how you doing?
see what you
Jordan,
have.
nice to meet you.
Jordan.
So my viewpoint on all of this I've been hearing is it sounds like a Western problem. I don't think these problems happen in the East because in America and Western countries, we're built on capitalism.
Yeah.
And the whole idea of capitalism is to extract and pretty much you got to put down. So for me to make money, I got to pick on the weak. So I don't think it's a individual problem. And I think that's what you're making it. It sounds like how the companies say recycling. You got to put, that's not our problem. That's the company's problem. Mm-hmm. And I think when you make it an individual problem, it makes it seem like you don't care about the humans. You know what I mean? Yeah. So how do you go attack the legislators? Yeah. How do you go against the companies? Because that's what we have to change if you want to see our relationship with food change. Yeah. One thing, I had COVID a couple years ago and I lost my taste. That's when I realized that as Americans, we have a horrible relationship with food. It's all glutton.
Yes, yes.
So that is an American thing.
Yes.
They may not be doing that in East Africa.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So that's where I'm coming from.
Yeah, I love your perspective. And I completely agree with you. And I want to be very clear, I'm not pointing the finger at you. Mm-hmm. I promise.
Yeah, and I don't think you are, you know, but I'm just saying with the rhetoric, it's not, you're not saying we have to fix the companies, right? Because everything you've been saying is, okay, you have to change your diet. Yeah. Now, I agree, you know, fast food, but there's moderation, right? Because if I eat fresh steak every day, that's not good. Yeah. If I eat nothing but berries every day, that's not good. If I eat nothing but water every day, that's not good. Yeah. So you have to have balance and moderation.
Yeah. So, I guess what I'm trying to highlight is, like you said, profit is the most important part of American society, right? It is the thing we value above all other things. And so when you go to Congress and you say, hey, a company shouldn't pursue profit, they're like, get out of here. Like, that's not gonna happen. Go ahead.
But you have money.
Yeah.
So you can speak to them louder than I can speak to them.
And I have had these conversations. They just won't. Like so this happened in Prohibition, right? Like there were people, so in America, there was a time where alcohol was prohibited.
Correct.
Right? But rarely do you ever get society to act that way. And so I agree with you. And so I am working on both sides of this. So I'm saying that in this room, so what I really struggle with is I think these companies addict all of us to their things. They are predators and we are prey.
Exactly.
Scrolling, porn, fast food, junk food, nicotine. These are we are an addicted society, and it's awful. And what I'm saying is this is a really big problem, and it's a collective problem. We all own this problem. So everybody should do what we can to try to fight this problem. And the thing that makes me upset is I felt powerless to change my own eating habits. Every single night I would binge eat. I couldn't stop myself from doing that. I didn't have the capacity to do that. I didn't have anybody in my life to say, hey, Brian, can I help you with this basic thing? Nobody. So that's the role I'm trying to play, is I'm trying to say, you can reclaim control of your life. You can have willpower. I didn't have it. I was stuck. And so I'm just trying to make like this, the most, with the power I do have in the world, I'm trying to say like, how can we try to clean up this mess? It's clearly a really bad situation. People are hurting, it sucks, like this is not a good situation. So I'm very open, like better ideas on how to solve it. I'm trying my best with the powers I do have to say like, how can we make progress on this?
So I definitely agree, but I don't think any 20 of us have the power, the resources, the finances to actually change, but you do.
You know what? Every single revolution in history has started with a small group. Every single one. Never underestimate what a small group of people can transform.
I definitely agree.
All right, so that's it. There you have it. All right, everybody. So there you have it. That's what people are saying. And when people talk about moderation, several of the people mentioned moderation. Look, poison in moderation is still poison. I don't recommend it at all. It's not good at all. So moderation is not a good example of this idea of moderation. You don't want to eat poison. It's not good for anyone at any time. Stop with the excuses, folks. I highly recommend you look at more of this video. I'll put the link below to the full video. And I also recommend you look at Brian Johnson's other information. And stop being a skeptics when you see somebody talking about health and healthy habits and healthy things. Excuses aren't getting you healthy. Actually taking action and doing something about it. I think no one should ever eat fast food, regardless of the excuses that are out there. We don't need to. And in my channel, I try to help people understand how to make healthier choices for the practical situation and for the average person that's not a millionaire. You don't have to be a millionaire to eat healthy. All right? I'll put your comments and questions below. Let me know what you think about this and all this information. Thank you for watching, everybody. Have a great day and have a great day and a great raw life.
Nature's wealth, good for your health. This is the Raw Life Health Show. Nature's wealth, good